on, people? So today we have a review for POM Wonderful Presents The Greatest Movie Ever Sold. And this movie is about product placement, something that we're all very familiar with, presented by Xbox, because it's the only controller I use. So, this movie is about product placement and if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing and should be stopped, which I want to bring up early in this review. At one point, they go to a place that no longer has advertisements. I won't spoil it or anything, but imagine New York City, but Times Square is just a blank slate. And that's the world that you get to imagine. Like, what if there are no advertisements? It's a really interesting insight. But first, let me just break it down what this movie says. It says there's good parts of advertising, like, for example, the one that they bring up, like a musician. They get to put their songs in the commercials and get their music out there. Like, that's really cool. Like, hey, look at that. I get to hear that song. And if you look it up, hey, help them with their business, That's like how, musicians get their little start and then they don't have to sell out anymore. Or, there's schools who have issues with being able to pay the budget. And they have to, unfortunately, have advertisements there. And, it's a good thing because schools get money, but it's a bad thing because you're, basically shoving down the throats of these kids, like, hey, check out this thing, or hey, check out this. So there are some bad things too. And a really bad thing is, advertising now is literally on everything. Like, you get advertising, on your soda bottle, on a water bottle, which is... that's water. Everyone drinks water. They're on Facebook. They're everywhere. It's ridiculous. And even, on your Netflix envelopes, you open it up and bam, there's an advertisement right there. Advertising is literally everywhere, and it's a huge part of our world. So this movie, I really think it did a pretty good job at pulling back the curtain, if you will, on what advertising is in this industry. And there's this really interesting part where Morgan Spurlock, the creator of this film and of Super Size Me, goes to POM Wonderful, who ends up becoming one of the main advertisers for the film, and he brings them these 3 great concepts for commercials, and it's kind of like they're the corporations, man, they're not going to let you do whatever you want, but they're like, yeah, those are really great ideas, but this is what we want you to do, and don't do that at all. So it's just, kind of like, it's a double-edged sword, if you will. But this movie gets into some really interesting stuff. I was fully interested throughout this entire film. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funnier than Super Size Me, which kind of surprised me. And he also gets some really cool people to talk in this movie. There's Peter Berg, director of Hancock, and then there's Brett Ratner, who did Rush Hour, who, although he's not the greatest director, he has some interesting things to say about product placement. And also, he gets someone super awesome to come in. He gets J.J. Abrams to come in and talk about it, and he also has some pretty awesome things to say. The whole movie as a whole, is a very enjoyable experience, but it could have been, something I just watched on TV, but I went to see in theaters, just to support it, and I really wanted to see it. I was interested in this. But if I had one complaint to say about this, is it has the super documentary camera, which is zoom it, kind of how they do it on Arrested Development or on The Office, they zoom in kind of. But this, it would focus really hard and have a hard time, it was just something that kind of bugged me. I don't know. And whenever they had a commercial on the TV, or on the screen, they would be from a YouTube video, it looked like a crappy YouTube video. I was like, really? Why does this look so terrible? It can't cost that much to just run a trailer in 1080p when you copy it and then put it in the movie. Those are just all minor complaints, but, movie can't have that many flaws, but still, it just doesn't quite amount to, a spectacular film. And this is a film that I would definitely recommend, and it's really worth checking out. It's super entertaining, and Morgan Spurlock is a great guy to hang out with for an hour and a half. So, definitely check this out. It's definitely worth your time. And one more thing I want to say. This was one of the first movies I've seen in I don't know how long. It was rated PG-13, and it had more than one F word in it. And I was like, hey, are times a-changing? Is the MPAA not being so dumb? Well, That's it anyway. So definitely worth your time. Check out The Greatest Movie Ever Sold.